What's up, everyone? I want to take a little time to follow up your hookah isn't smoking fix-it tutorial. Now, my ball bearing was broken. Pretty much what's on the inside of the purge valve is these little scratch-in crevices that have formed over use, I would say. And pretty much what happened is the purge ball that I actually had in there was way too small. I'll show you what it was. Okay, now it's just this tiny little BB. This BB is pretty damn small. Not really sure what size it is, but pretty much the size of this BB didn't encapsulate those little cracks and crevices, so what it was doing when I was taking a hit off my hookah, pretty much there was excess air going in with the purge, even though there is more airflow coming from the bowl. Yes, if you have a leak somewhere, there is going to be that tiny bit of air coming in from wherever it is. For me, purge valve, the BB wasn't big enough, pretty much making my smoke session very unenjoyable. It was cut short. The shisha would just get charred really quickly because there wasn't that proper airflow, taking more of that heat downward than usual. The flavor of it was just really, really bad and really terrible. But I just went to the ball bearing store. It's called Eureka Bearings and Supply, I guess. If you were to go to Google or something, you could probably just type in Eureka ball bearings. I'm not really sure if that's a brand name throughout the US, but that's in a local industrial park by my house, so it wasn't that far of a drive, and I got four, 3/8 ball bearings. Now I'll show you the size difference in between these two. Now, the one that I originally had in there, this is like a little bit bigger than I guess a airsoft BB pellet would be. I'm not too sure on the caliber of those sizes. This one was actually a little bit bigger than this, but over the time of smoking so much, they do kind of lose their size. I'm not really sure about plastic BBs. They may not lose their size, or they may kind of just kind of keep their size, but I'm not too sure. But so what I picked up at the ball bearing store was this massive BB 3/8. Alright, you can really tell. Alright, pretty substantial size difference. This guy right here sticks out of the purge port like ridiculously. There's not that much space for it to wiggle around, so when I do purge, it is a little bit more condensed. Letting the air out is a little bit longer than usual, but this bigger sized BB, 3/8 sized BB, covers up those little cracks and crevices that are where the BB actually sits. So I haven't smoked it yet, but I did do some tests while I was at the ball bearing store, and as you can see, this thing sits in there quite nicely. It literally sits in there, takes up the entire space of the purge port, so there's literally like no there's like no way that this thing would lose any air. Yeah, I'm looking at the scratches right now and where they are, and there's no way that there'd be any loss of air with this size BB. That's one thing you do kind of want to check with. Inspect just the purge this little inside area here. You want to inspect that and make sure that there's no real deep kind of scratching and kind of crevices within the purge port. I do have a little bit, but see, this is the reason why I got such a big freaking BB essentially was just to cover up pretty much all those little extra things like that. The way that you guys can check this, so another way, I guess, you'll put your damaged BB in there just to make sure that you know that it's not working properly, so you can just throw it away and forget about it. You're going to either cover your hose port or your where your bowl sits on top of here, on top of there. What I'm just going to do, I'm going to cover the purge, or the hose port here, and then I'm going to blow through the top of the bowl. And what we're going to do is we're just going to touch the top of the BB. See how I'm not covering the actual purge port? I'm not like covering it to make sure that there's no air coming out. I'm testing the BB without the cover on there, so if there is air, it's either coming out of two regions. One, the base grommet, which we can check on our own if you go to Your Hookah Isn't Smoking How to Fix It tutorial. I run you through all the basic ways that I check all my grommets and stuff, so you can do that. We know that my base grommet works perfectly fine. And the second place would be coming out is the actual purge port, so we're going to do that right now. So, one hand on the hose port and one fingertip on the purge port BB. Not really sure if you guys can hear that, but there is a little bit of air that's coming out. I could actually feel it brushing past my fingers, so we know that it's defective and it's not working properly. So this one, you can just pretty much throw this one away. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. I do actually have another BB in here. A newer version of that older one. I could just see if it works or not, but I doubt it will. Oh wow, it's actually worse than the other one. This one's newer. But none of that actually matters. So, alright, so I have 4 of these 3/8, and we're just going to test it. Just want to make sure. Works perfectly fine. No loss of air. Alright? It's a pretty massive BB, so it takes up a lot of surface area within the purge port. Actually, all of the surface area. So I'll probably just put one of these back in there, just for precautionary. And I'll purge it just to show you guys how it sounds. Not the most pleasant sound. I have my hose in here. I can just do it how I was doing it. I'll stand up for you guys and do it. So, that's the noise that it makes. It's bouncing around in there a whole bunch, but it's not really staying in one general area, and then just going back, it kind of... It's so big that it has no place to really go but up. There's not just one area where it rolls up and it goes past it. Kind of just goes around it and makes it rattle around, but quite honestly, a noisy little purge port, in my experience, is actually a little bit better. I don't mind that at all. So that's pretty much the size that I'm going to start using forever now, actually. 3/8 is the biggest, I would say. How I measured the amount was I just got some calipers and just used the other point where they spread open, and it was a little bit bigger than 3/8, but that's to deal with the actual screwing part of the purge port. So 3/8 is literally like the perfect size. You probably could go one size up. Don't remember what it is. I think it's like 2364. I can't remember what size it is, but so when I actually went into the place Eureka, it is next to my work. Actually, it's like a block away from my work. When I went in there, I go in there, I bring my hookah in there, okay, because I called them up and asked them or whatever, and I bring my purge port cap in there as well, and I asked the lady, do you have any 3/8 ball bearings? She goes back there, brings a whole bunch in there, and then she says, oh, well, what kind of material are you going to be using? They had chrome and stainless steel, so pretty much there was a employee there that smokes hookah a whole bunch apparently, and he's an older kind of dude, and he was like, "Oh, well, I smoke hookah every day, so I know everything there is about hookah." He goes to get the stainless steel ball bearings because they do not rust, so that's factual, that's true. And he goes to me and says that these BBs are way too big. Alright, you're not going to be able to blow them up or some shit. As you can see, they work perfectly fine, which was kind of funny because I did test it in there. Hopefully he heard it, and hopefully he does it himself because his hookah's probably isn't smoking right. But he was saying how the BB is too big, and you know, like those scratch marks don't really matter. Doesn't matter if your hookah's airtight. Alright. Just because you're smoking hookah every day doesn't mean you're a professional. Just because I drive a car every day doesn't mean I'm a professional fucking race car driver, you know. This guy was just really cracking me up. It doesn't really get under my skin that he's an older guy. I'm a younger dude, you know. He's like, oh man, this younger guy doesn't know anything about hookah. I've fixed all the leaks on my hookah before. This is just another problem that came up. So, it's kind of just funny. They gave me the BBs for free, all 4 of them. She was going to bring a 5th one, and then that's when the whole payment thing. I only had my card on me, and they were saying that there's a card minimum, but one of the dudes back there was on a call or something, or he was on his computer, and he was just looking at me. I think he remembers me going in there one other time for just work-related issue, and he said just give them to him for free, so I got 4 of these 3/8 BBs for free. So here they are again, stainless steel. The thing that I find with these is they do lose size, so I don't know if that's an actual factor to this, but there's a pretty significant amount of size that they have to lose in order to actually start leaking, so that's another reason why it went so big, just to compensate for that. So anyways guys, hopefully you have enjoyed this kind of tutorial slash just me babbling on about some guy at a ball bearing store who smokes a lot of hookah. Keep on smoking hookah, guys. Have a good day.